Welcome in to Outkick the Show. I am your fearless leader, Clay Travis. I appreciate all of you coming to hang out with me on a Wednesday afternoon edition of Outkick the Coverage, where we are off and rolling. Much to get to, but I want to start by telling you to go to sportsbookreview.com. I tweeted out the link. You can go check out my Twitter feed. Make sure that you get the best price on all of the gambling-related events surrounding the Kentucky Derby. Here's something I think is important. I've been to the Derby. It's an awesome experience. It's really cool. Here's the problem. When you bet at the Kentucky Derby, it's called pari-mutuel betting. And that means if you really like a horse and everybody else decides that you also are right and that they like your horse, you don't get the benefit of the line move. And so let's say you love a horse and you bet on them at 10-1. If everybody else comes in right before the actual start of the race and bets on the same horse, then your 10-1 odds can turn into 2-1 odds. I think that's awful. That's why I hate betting at the racetrack. You can go price, and there's tons of different prices all over the internet. You can go price the Kentucky Derby and make sure you get the best number for a horse that you like. Now, you may be like me and know nothing about horses, and you can still get the best price of the horse you like, even if you're just betting based on name, because you can look at all the different valuations of the horses. I'm not a Kentucky Derby guy. It's not like I know anything about horses. I love gambling, and sportsbookreview.com will make sure you get the best possible number. So if you're going to be gambling on the Kentucky Derby this weekend, I'd encourage you to go check them out. Go check out the link that I sent out earlier, where all of the odds from across the internet and beyond are all collated. All right, we've got much to get to, but first, my guys at thehomeloanexpert.com will take care of you. I believe for VIP. For VIP tomorrow, I am announcing the details, should be able to, of all of Outkick the Weekend. So VIP members get the first right to go get signed up, and actually, to their credit, for all the VIP members out there who signed up, if you were a VIP, you are actually going to save money if you decide to go to Vegas, because I'm charging you $120 less than everybody else who is going to Las Vegas. So that's a cool thing that I'm doing for VIP members. I want to thank you guys for signing up in the first 6 months, 8 months, whatever it was. If you are a VIP member, you will actually save money in the event that you go to the Las Vegas event. Everybody else is going to have to pay full freight. I'm knocking $120 off for you guys, which means you signed up for $99, you got a free t-shirt, free shipping, all that stuff. And if you're going to Vegas, you will pay less than everybody else. Plus, you'll get the opportunity to actually book things before everybody else. So if you are a VIP member and you are watching this right now, make sure that you are checking your email. We are going to send out the info to VIP members and give them the opportunity to get set up in a heartbeat and make sure that they can make that trip. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm not going to tell you all the events and all the people that are going to be involved, but I can tell you it's going to be absolutely fantastic. All right, so much to get here. The Raptors choke. And also, by the way, go to thehomeloanexpert.com, thehomeloanexpert.com to get pre-qualified. Make sure, everybody, that you get the best possible number anywhere in the country for this, for your home. My guy Ryan Kelly will take care of you. TheHomeLoanExpert.com. All right. The Raptors choked. The Warriors rolled, and everything else associated with that is not a surprise. The Preds collapsed, and the Caps were on a run. Draymond versus Barkley. If you haven't heard these two guys feuding over fighting, we've got Drake versus Kendrick Perkins, which seems like a bad role for Drake in that respect. We got a war on cheerleading brewing. The New York Times has decided that they will not allow cheerleading to take place. Women cannot be observed and be considered attractive, according to the far left wing. That is offensive to ugly and fat women, skinny and good-looking women. We will not allow you to profit in any way off your skinny and good looks. That is offensive to all the fat, ugly women out there who can't be cheerleaders. And also the U.S. citizens report out there that the U.S. citizens, the 3 that were being held in captivity in North Korea, that they have been freed and will be released at the actual meeting between the summit meeting between Donald Trump and Kim Jong-un. So for all the people out there like, what kind of tangible results has Donald Trump gotten? Donald Trump hasn't done anything. These people want to criticize Donald Trump for everything. What I have said from the get-go is this. Every president is imperfect. No matter how much you love a president, they are going to do some things that you like, and they're going to do some things that you do not like. Donald Trump now has reportedly gotten 3 American citizens pulled out of North Korean prison, and they are reportedly going to be allowed to return to America when he goes to meet Kim Jong-un. That's a tangible result that I'm sure is wildly important to the members of his family, to their families, and that's going to be pretty interesting to see what happens in June when Donald Trump meets. It appears likely they're going to meet at the demilitarized zone. But let's go back to the NBA right now, and that's the rundown of everything we got to get to today. I got to tell you, the Raptors choked at a level of choking that is rarely seen in the NBA. They went 15 out of 16 missed shots down the stretch. They could not get a simple tip in. You had your best player driving to the rim, and then he makes the decision inexplicably to kick it back out to Fred VanVleet. That, of course, DeMar DeRozan. You got Kyle Lowry, who can't get the ball inbounded and gets a 5-second count in the NBA, which is almost impossible to do. The NBA, they give you like 8 seconds to throw the ball in. I can't even remember the last time I saw a 5-second count in an actual NBA game. I don't know what Kyle Lowry was thinking. I don't know what the Raptors were thinking in general, but they collapsed, and this is why I told you to take Cavs +7 yesterday on this show. Because ultimately, I've seen it so many times before. This was my entire youth. So many times, Tennessee rolled into the Alabama game with a better team, and they lost. In order to break a long string of not being able to beat a team, usually you have to deliver, in my experience, an epic beatdown. You have to come out and destroy them like Tennessee did back in 1995 when they took down Alabama after not winning for a decade. That's what you got to do. You got to go out and beat them down so that there is no mercy shown. Then Tennessee won the last 9 out of 10. You got to take them down while you can. The Raptors did not believe that they could beat the Cavs. And so as a result, they took it on the chin. They can't win this. You got to beat the shit out of the team that you're trying to beat the first time. They had an opportunity. They were up 14 after the first quarter, and then they fell apart. They choked. The Raptors went Raptor. But actually, I thought more interesting, the Warriors won. I was out watching the Preds get their brains beat in after they went up 3-0. They gave up 7 goals in this final 2 periods. I don't think they're going to beat whatever that country, that part of Canada is. What's the Winnipeg? I don't think they're going to beat Winnipeg. I don't think anything's going to happen there. Congrats to the Caps taking down the Penguins. I was watching all 4 of these games last night. I got to tell you this right now. More entertaining than the actual NBA games was trying to think about what's going to happen if Draymond Green and Charles Barkley see each other. And also the fact that Drake almost got into it with Kendrick Perkins. Now, I want to talk about both of these fights for a minute. First of all, Barkley saying he wants somebody to punch Draymond Green is actually pretty funny. All right? I don't think he was being that serious. I thought Draymond Green's response was actually kind of funny too. It's cartoon-like violence. I don't think either one of these guys actually has a beef with the other person. And what's ironic is, as we were talking to Jason Whitlock on the show this morning, the radio show, Whitlock pointed out that Draymond Green is very similar to Charles Barkley back when Barkley played in the NBA too. In other words, the modern day Charles Barkley may well be Draymond Green. Now, I don't think Draymond Green is as smart or as funny as Charles Barkley, certainly not. But on the court, in terms of the way that they play, they are somewhat similar. They're antagonists. I mean, Draymond Green has got a great all-around game. But if they got into a fight, it would be amazing. Of course, it would be a probation violation for Draymond Green because I think he pled guilty to attacking somebody in a bar at Michigan State. So who knows how actually that would go on. But there's not a lot to be seen here. There's not a lot to be seen in the NBA playoffs. We know that the Warriors are going to probably sweep or win in 5 games. Great stat for you. The Warriors are 22-2 in their last 24 playoff games. That's unfucking believable. I mean, let's be honest. They went 16-1 last year. They started off this year 6-1. Steph Curry's only played once. I mean, it's unbelievable to me. in the NBA playoffs that you could go 22-2 over this stretch of time. Maybe they go 2-1 in the final 3 against the Pelicans. They're not afraid of the Pelicans. The Pelicans may win one game back home in New Orleans. I think tonight the Rockets are going to win. I still think the line's pretty high. I take the Jazz plus 11 tonight. But I think the Rockets are going to roll, and whoever wins the NBA Western Conference Finals is going to actually end up winning the NBA. But Draymond versus Barkley, I would love to see it. Who you got? Draymond or Barkley? I don't think there's any doubt. Draymond Green is a lot younger than Charles Barkley. Charles Barkley is like 55 years old. Draymond Green would destroy him. So this would be the worst decision ever for Charles Barkley to decide to fight him. But also, of all the people that Drake could get in a beef with in the NBA, Kendrick Perkins might be the worst. Kendrick Perkins has got resting bitch face, all right? Kendrick Perkins is perpetually aggrieved. He looks mad all the time. There's every now and then guys who have resting bitch face, like girls have resting bitch face. Russell Westbrook has resting bitch face, right? There is zero doubt that Kendrick Perkins has resting bitch face. And he would destroy Drake. Like, I think he would destroy Drake like back in the day. Remember when Zeus, old school, was fighting Hulk Hogan in that great seminal film, No Holds Barred? And Zeus used to just pick up everybody and just throw them everywhere? That's Kendrick Perkins to me. He is Zeus. This would be an ugly, ugly beatdown. I got to give credit a little bit. I got to give credit a little bit to Drake for even stepping up in any way to Kendrick Perkins. Because of anybody in the entire NBA that Drake could step to, I think this is probably the worst person he could pick. And if you didn't see it, they got into a altercation or a shoving match or a shouting match or whatever you want to call it after the game. Kendrick Perkins not even dressed out. Did he make the? I thought he was. Did he never dress out at all? Was he not on the Cavs roster? He's not dressing. He's not on the playoff roster at all, I guess. So he just travels around in a suit. Like, this doesn't make any sense to me. Why does the NBA have guys who are only in suits traveling for the playoffs? He's just basically LeBron James's bodyguard, right? I don't even understand what's going on. Why would you travel with your guys who are not even on the playoff roster and have them at your games? Like, this doesn't make any sense. It's one thing if they are in your hometown, right? If he wants to show up in Cleveland where he is living. But if you have 0% chance to actually dress out and you are not actually on the roster, what sense does it make to travel with him to Toronto unless he is LeBron James's personal bodyguard? I don't understand this. Does that make any sense? Like, if you're on the practice squad, you don't travel with the NFL team, do you? They don't put the practice squad members on the plane and have them stand on the sideline in sweatsuits, do they? Now, you can dress whatever it is, 45 players on the day of the game, and you have a 53-man roster, so you have several guys who are inactive that are not on injured reserve. But you don't take the practice squad guys. This is a crazy thing to me, to put them on a plane and travel with them. So Drake is going up against it with Kendrick Perkins. Let's move right on. This, to me, the New York Times has begun a war on cheerleading. And that's exactly what it is. It's a war on cheerleading, and it is predicated on everything that is surrounding this cheerleading universe. Here's my position. I'm a huge feminist. Nobody is more of a feminist than me. And I have this opinion about women. If they want to be cheerleaders, they should be able to be cheerleaders. This is not a ridiculous proposition. If you want to be a cheerleader and you want to be on the field and you want to make a little bit of money to be a cheerleader, then you have the opportunity to do it. All right? This is not a ridiculous proposition. This is not controversial. If you want to do something and it is legal, then you should be able to do it. For some reason, the New York Times has decided that cheerleading is now unacceptable and inappropriate. And they're writing all these stories. I don't know how many of you have seen this story, but they have a story from the Washington Redskins. And I don't understand this story at all. If you want to wear a short skirt and a bikini top, and you want to get paid to dance, that should be your choice. I married a Tennessee Titans cheerleader, okay? She made the choice that she wanted to be a Tennessee Titans cheerleader. And I went around to some of the events that the Tennessee Titans cheerleaders were involved in, and guess what? Many times they went out to events, and the people that were the most excited to see the cheerleaders, who do you think were the most excited to see the cheerleaders? It wasn't the old guys. It was, I'm telling you right now, little girls. Little girls love cheerleaders, and so do little kids, little boys. And those were the people who were most excited to see the cheerleaders. They were fantastic, unbelievable emissaries of the brand because the players aren't out all the time. Little girls in particular love seeing cheerleaders. They want to grow up and be cheerleaders because they see women, and guess what? They see pretty girls, and one day they want to grow up and be pretty girls too. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Now, boys oftentimes see cheerleaders, even little boys, and they love it too. All right? I don't understand why this is remotely controversial. The New York Times has started writing all these stories, and it reminds me of it's just not accurate in the way that they're being conveyed. Okay, first of all, they said that they went to Costa Rica to have a cheerleading calendar photo shoot at a private adults-only resort because they knew that there would not be a lot of people there and they could get privacy. And along the way, they also invited some sponsors to travel. Now, I don't know why you would do that except for this reason. Sponsors allow the cheerleaders to exist, okay? Most of the time, the cheerleader unit does not make a lot of money. And so in a business, you try and make sure that all aspects of your business make money. Now, maybe you should say that the NFL should just say, you know what? Cheerleaders shouldn't be for profit. You got to just roll that out, pay them $20,000 each. You got 30 girls, that's $600,000 a year, and that's just investment in your marketing. Maybe you want to make that argument. But I guarantee you most people are looking at the business and they're saying, hey, we want everybody to make some money, okay? Every part of the business has to make some money. So the story starts off and it's like the women felt like they were being held hostage when they checked into their Costa Rican hotel. All of their passports were gathered. Okay, that sounds a little bit strange unless you've been to Costa Rica, where, guess what? At really fancy hotels, they sometimes will keep your passport at the front desk of a really fancy hotel in Costa Rica. Do you know how I know that? Because they did that to us when we were at a really fancy hotel in Costa Rica. Because they are afraid of your passport getting stolen because it's so common in Costa Rica. So they have the safe behind the desk. They put everybody's passport in, and when you check out, they give it back to you. Now, maybe that's not ideal, but if that happened to me and my wife last year, I don't think it's that crazy that it would happen to the Redskins. So when the Redskins say, yeah, we did that because we were trying to make sure that their passports didn't get stolen when they were in the rooms, or even worse, that the girls didn't lose them while they were running around doing all this stuff, that happens. Now, here's the other thing. They're like, well, they couldn't eat very much because they were trying to make sure that they looked good for their calendar shoot. So, like, why is that my problem? If you want to look the best possible for your calendar shoot, then you probably should best beat your ass into great shape. I guarantee you that right before WrestleMania, all the dudes that go out and beat the crap out of each other, who are going to be out there shirtless in their underwear, also, first of all, shoot up a lot of steroids and HGH and everything else, but they probably also pay tremendous attention to their diet. You can't tell me that Triple H, who's like 60 years old, shows up in the ring looking like he has a 0% body fat percentage, and he hasn't been prepping for a long time for his moment when he's out there with everybody to be able to see him in his shirtless situation. Like, men on the team have to make weight too. They're like, they have to many times make weight and make sure maintain their physical appearance. Many men have written into their contract who are making hundreds of thousands of dollars or millions of dollars that they would actually make sure that they are going to make their weight. All of this makes no sense. All right. This is ridiculous. And then they're like, well, some girls went out for a night out at a club and people thought that they might be prostitutes when they left because they didn't have their passports with them. So, again, like, why is that a big story? Like, Costa Rica is full of prostitutes. If you have a lot of girls in skin-tight dresses and high heels, it's not uncommon to think they're prostitutes. Have you ever been to Vegas? Try to figure out who the prostitute is and who the person going to the fanciest club in the city is. Good luck. They dress the same. Girls dress all the same. Hooker chic is in, right? Like, you do it. Go to the Cosmo, look around, and try to figure out who are the escorts and who isn't. All right. If you're not making a comment and it isn't funny and I see it like 4 times, then I'm going to block you. Like, I don't know what you think. Like, you think, oh, this is a really funny comment. I'm going to make it once. It's like, okay, it's not very funny. And then you make it again, and then I see it, and then you make it a 3rd time, and it's the same thing, and it's not funny. Like, why should I allow you to continue to comment on my show? You are dead. Like, Clay Kyle, like, if I don't even read most of the comments, but if I happen to look over and I see that you are that bad and that you think you're being really funny and you keep saying the same thing over and over again, why should you ever be allowed to comment again? I'm going to execute you, and you'll never be able to comment again. That's the truth. But this is all part of a larger issue, okay? This is all part of a larger issue, which is there is a certain segment of American society today which honestly believes it's in favor of women's liberation, and they're making the same arguments that people in Middle Eastern countries do, which is that women shouldn't be able to make the choices that women want to make. That's why I say I'm a huge feminist. I believe that if you have the right to make a living legally on something, you should be able to do it. I don't know why that's crazy. I don't know if that's irrational. I don't know. This guy also has been a real cunt. I'm going to block him. If I look over and I think, is this what a cunt would say? And your name is attached to it, you might never be able to return again. Like, that guy has been a cunt all day. And as a result, he's not going to be able to ever comment in the show again. Right? I mean, just don't step to me. You might get away with it for a couple of days. You might get away with it for a couple of comments. But every now and then, I'm going to see your comment, and you'll be gone forever. And you aren't funny, and you aren't interesting, and you're gone, and you cease to exist. All right? That's the truth. And so what is interesting to me about this is what is ultimately at stake here is women's ability to make their own decisions. And there are a lot of people out there, and a lot of them tend to be fat and unattractive, and they are triggered by the fact that some women are young and attractive, and so they decide, you know what, this shouldn't exist. This shouldn't exist because I'm fat and ugly, and I'm upset that there are other people who are young and skinny and good-looking, and it upsets me that they get attention based on the way they look. Well, welcome to the real world, okay? That's how the world works. People who are good-looking get more attention and more favorable treatment than people who are ugly. I wish that I was George Clooney. If I was George Clooney, I would make a lot more money than I do right now. That's the truth. Now, I'm, pretty good looking for a writer about sports, but I'm not George Clooney. If I was, I would make more money than I do now, because people would say, my God, this guy's got to be on television. He looks like George Clooney. And that's true across the board. Do you know how many really ugly people there are on television? I said this before. You know what Erin Andrews got me hired at Fox. You know what the first question Fox execs asked before they hired me was? What does he look like? Because she said, he's a writer. I'm telling you, he's going to be good on television. First question they asked was, what does he look like? I'm a dude. If they're asking that about me, they're asking that about everybody. It's a cosmetic industry. You put on makeup to do it live on television. There's almost nobody who is ugly who makes a living on television. It's an elaborate play. And so the truth of the matter is, cheerleaders are out there because they're sexy and they help sell the team, and because there's a large segment of the population that enjoys watching them perform. Now, I don't know why that's offensive to anyone at the New York Times. I kind of do, because they want us to live in a society where there's no such thing as men and women, where looks don't matter, where all that matters about looks is what color you are. Because that's one of the fascinating things about the far left now, right? They don't care about anything except making sure that cosmetic diversity exists. I mean, this whole thing is a sham, and I could have told you that it was going to happen, that the war on cheerleaders was going to happen. I told you that it was going to happen. I'm not surprised that it's happening. There is a segment of American society which has lost its mind. And so many people are afraid of them, and afraid of standing up to them, and afraid of calling them out for what they are, that in general, they don't actually earn or learn anything. And they have been emboldened, and they have been convinced that they are completely right. They're totalitarians. And again, I use this example all the time. When's the last time a conservative had to apologize for a political view? It's a great question. When's the last time that a conservative had to apologize for a political view? Never happens. Liberals apologize, far left wingers, all the time for violating liberal orthodoxy and saying something that triggers people and makes them uncomfortable. As a believer in the marketplace of ideas and in the First Amendment and in boobs, I defend cheerleaders. I defend everybody's right to be engaged fervently in the discussion of ideas. I'm telling you right now that this is patently absurd. All right, final topic. Everybody out there who's triggered about Donald Trump. Everybody's triggered about Donald Trump and convinced that there is no way that anybody out there can actually convince them that Donald Trump has done anything good at all. He reportedly has gotten the 3 people who North Korea has been holding in prison for years released from prison in advance of the conversations and talks that are going to be taking place soon. This is pretty amazing. Like, for people who want tangible impact from the president, in addition to the fact that North and South Korea may stop being at war after 70 years, in addition to the fact that Kim Jong-un may well be giving up his pursuit of nuclear weapons, in addition to all of that, Donald Trump now, before the talks even began, has got a tangible result, which is 3 different Americans that have been held in prison, released, and now able to go out and be able to reach the larger freedom in America. It's a big deal. It's a really big deal. And as a result, everybody out there who has been criticizing Donald Trump is really going to have to contemplate what's going on here. He may well end up winning the Nobel Prize. And if these 3 guys get released, I think that's a little bit bigger deal than whether or not he had sex with a porn star 12 years ago. Which, by the way, CNN has had on the porn star's attorney 59 times in the last 7 weeks. 59 times CNN has had on the porn star's attorney. Remember, CNN banned me for saying I love the First Amendment and boobs. They have had on the porn star's attorney 59 times. Unbelievable. Craziness. I love all of you. My name is Clay Travis. If you enjoy the show, share it. We'll be live tomorrow, 6 to 9 a.m. Eastern, 300 a.m. FM stations, Sirius Satellite Radio. If you are a VIP, congratulations. Tomorrow is your first opportunity to sign up for the first annual event in Las Vegas, Outkick the Weekend. It's going to be a lot of fun. I appreciate all of you. DBAP boys and girls, go buy the t-shirt if you want. They're up on Outkick.com. My name is Clay Travis. This has been Outkick the Show. Love you. Share the show if you love it, as many of you do. This has been Outkick the Show. See you tomorrow.